Okay, this has to do with customer service. I'm sure all of you have had lots of experiences with grocery stores and department stores and mass merchants all over the United States where you go in there and you have all sorts of problems, either with merchandise or with getting help or with getting questions answered or maybe with making a return. There's just all sorts of things that go on today where customer service is often lacking, and it's very definitely less than be desired as what it used to be in the past. So, what are some of the things that one encounters when dealing with this sort of thing?
Well, this is coming from 35 years of experience in three different big box stores
Yes,
over the years. But I think probably my top thing as far as working in retail is I think if you haven't done it in your lifetime and you don't have respect for the employees, you need to do it at least once in your life for about a week during Christmas time or Black Friday sale.
absolutely, absolutely.
And you would look at the retail sales employee in a whole different light.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Because I'm sure somebody that's watching this video has heard this line. Somebody comes into the store and they say, "Go to the toy department and play, and I'll come back and pick you up later."
Mm-hmm.
If you've never straightened up and faced a toy department, maybe around Christmas time in a retail sales store, you haven't done anything yet. It's a nightmare.
I want to respond to that briefly from my own experience back many, many years ago when baseball cards and comic books were super, super hot. Parents, when they were on their way to go to Walmart or Kmart or wherever, my store sold a lot of sports cards and a lot of comic books, things that appealed to a younger audience. And so we had parents who would drop the kids off while they went and did their shopping. And so basically they were asking us to babysit those kids for a couple of hours. Finally, my mom talked me into making a sign, which I hung up behind the counter that said, "We are not a babysitting service." Because what they do, they just give the kids a couple of bucks. They didn't give them much money. And they were just going to use us for a free babysitting service. So we had to put a stop to that real fast.
Yes, yes, I can see that happening. Also, on cart runs, during my lifetime, I must have done hundreds and hundreds of cart runs. But a lot of people aren't thinking about exactly what happens when you leave a cart on the lot and the wind catches it, or somebody puts it up against your car that you've just detailed out and waxed. You come out and find it, that it's made a scratch or something on the side of it. All that does is make your insurance go up because of people having to file claims on damages on parking lots, because the store itself is not liable for anything that happens on the parking lot as far as damage to cars.
My older brother worked at Kroger's for 35 years. He was produce manager there. He said people would use those buggies and ram them into you. And he said, it hurts like hell. And he said, I don't know why people can't pay any attention. He said, I'll be standing there, putting oranges or apples or whatever out in produce, and people will just ram right into them with those buggies. So people can be very inconsiderate, the public.
Exactly, exactly. And please respect the handicap spaces. If it says van access and you have a car, even if you are physical handicap as myself, I try not to use the van access spaces, because if you have a van and you're in a wheelchair, it makes it very difficult for you to get the ramp to get down with your wheelchair.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This one friend of mine used to work at Old Navy, and he'd go to lunch and bring a hamburger back there at the mall, and the people would just swarm in. And he said, I never got to eat my lunch while it was hot. He said I would take one bite of it, and that reminds me, a lot of the fast food places really get slammed, and I know it must be hard on employees and a lot of people's attitudes. I'm sure working both in retail and in fast food, and I think everybody ought to have to do both at least one day in their life. You experienced a lot of things. What are some more things you can tell us about both retail stores and fast food?
Well, on the fast food, these are some of the episodes that a friend of mine shared with me, and I'm just going to pass them along to you. It's things that kind of like the wackiest customer questions or comments, I guess you could say. There was a lady that went into a ice cream restaurant, and during the hot summer months, sometimes the ice cream on the inside will be softer than normal because of the conditions outside, and it's making the air conditioner pull harder for the building, and it's not as cool,
Mhm.
and it will make the ice cream soft. And when it's dipped, it melts relatively fast. Well, this lady got all upset and she said, if it's going to be a soft ice cream day, don't you think you should put a sign out front saying it's going to be a soft ice cream day? And she was upset over that.
Wow.
Another thing that people do, same thing, an ice cream store, people want the ice cream in a banana split boat in a certain order,
Okay.
as strawberry, chocolate. They want it in a certain order in the boat,
Wow.
although they're eating it all at once. Um, Anybody that's worked in fast food, have you ever had food thrown at you? Uh, this person that I'm talking to has had water thrown at them, uh, sundaes, ice cream sundaes thrown at them because it wasn't made correctly because the employee that had made it before them, when this customer came in, made it a lot bigger than when they made it, and they got upset and threw it at them. Especially in the drive-throughs. Drive-through windows seem to be a target zone for people throwing things at the window.
I knew a girl who worked at Whataburger late night on Fridays and Saturdays. Not a good time to be working there between midnight and 2 because what would happen, she said all the drunks would leave the clubs and, of course, they're going to go through Whataburger to get something to eat. Well, because they're drunk, they're going to cuss and yell and behave in ways they normally wouldn't behave in if they were sober. And so she had to deal with that. And so finally she said, I just don't want to work nights at the drive thru on Friday and Saturday. And she ended up getting a better schedule. Fortunately, the manager worked with her and she eventually quit anyway. But yeah, nightmare can be a nightmare at drive thrus.
Hmm. And this will this works both ways. Racism is alive and well today because this particular person, the customer did not want them to make their food because of their skin color.
Oh, wow.
So I really can't say any more about that other than it speaks for itself. So
Sure.
share your comments and stories if you've had that happen to you.
Yes, people who are watching, share your stories here, both from retail and fast food. We want to hear things you've seen, things that have happened to you. Please tell us.
Some of those crazy moments
Crazy
and what
moments.
people come up with. Also, in uh, restaurants of any kind, people will ask for a water cup and they'll go fill it up with soda
Oh, yes.
and think that it's free because they're either elderly or they have a lot of children.
Hmm.
That happens quite often in fast food.
Oh, yeah.
Going back to the retail sales, I'll just share some of my stories with you.
Okay.
I was loading a swing set. You got to think this was back in the day.
Uh huh.
And the lady had a sports car with T-tops, glass tops
Uh
on
huh.
it. And I told her that she needed to move them out from between her two front seats because the swing set weight would probably break them. Well, she proceeded to tell me, go ahead and push it in there. Well, we did, and both tops broke, cracked. She didn't act like it was a big deal because she realized that she had told me to go ahead and do it. But I could not believe that, and I can't tell you how many times I loaded things in very, very nice cars with leather seats, and the customer would just say, cram it on in there anyway. It would just amaze me.
Hmm. I will tell you about my Denny's experience over in Garland. I had gone with a friend. In fact, I'd taken him. We had rented a car, and I was driving. And we went over to DFW airport to pick up his wife, who had flown in from Greece. So she'd had a long flight, and she got in late, and it was already night. It was 7 or 8. It was getting dark. This was summer, but it was beginning to get dark. It was every bit of 9 o'clock by the time we made it to the Denny's in Garland. Well, we were tired and hungry, and so we went in and ordered. And I don't know, about 10 minutes into the meal, the only time the waitress came over to my table, my iced tea was already virtually empty. And she said, "Do you want some more tea?" I said, "Absolutely, bring me some more tea." So I don't know, a good 20 minutes passed, and I hear her jabbering and talking to the people in the kitchen and chit chatting, small talk, joking, just carrying on and carrying on. When she finally comes back to my table 25, 30 minutes later, I said, "Did you forget about my iced tea?" She said, "Oh, we ran out. We had to make some more tea. Would you like to have water instead?" I said,
Because one day a disgruntled customer came into the store,
"Uh huh."
and at that time they had shower curtain displays hanging in that department.
Mm hmm.
They set them on fire,
Oh, my goodness.
and the blaze went up the wall of the store, and you can imagine how it went from there. I just couldn't believe that somebody would do that.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
They took their cigarette lighter and lit the shower curtain display on fire.
Man, that is a really over the top behavior, what some people will do.
Um, there was a day that a mental disabled group of people came in a van, from a van, and somehow they left one behind
Okay.
in the store. And they were unaware of this until that person grabbed a fire extinguisher off one of the poles and was running around spraying customers and managers with foam.
Oh, my goodness.
And that was a pretty crazy day that happened. A lady came to the service desk one day and she literally griped me out because I had sold her defective batteries for her radio, because I sold her two negative batteries instead of a negative and a positive battery. She was thinking the way you pull them out of the package is the way you put them into the radio.
Oh, my word. Oh, my word.
There was a man that brought back a watering hose one day, and he said, "This hose is defective. It must have 500 holes in it." Yes, sir, it's a soaker hose, and it's supposed to have 500. It probably has more than that in it. But we refunded it happily anyway. One night it was a bad thunderstorm, and lightning struck the top of the store and hit an air conditioner unit and caught the store on fire.
Wow.
I've had used tampons thrown at me when I was a manager trying to stop a shoplifter. I've had bomb threats called in while I was standing in layaway and they're trying to evacuate the store and the customer's dropping because the system is being shut down and they still want their layaway anyway. Uh, I've had customers that just have no class that ask me where the ass wash was
Oh, my word.
in the health and beauty care department.
Gosh.
I've had customers bring back literally a stick when they bought a tree from the store and they said it didn't grow. Literally, a tree does come with generally a year's warranty, but you need your receipt and either the root ball. This person brought back a switch stick and got a refund for around $16 for a stick.
Gosh,
Without
that's
a refund slip on it.
outrageous, you know it?
And the one I want to leave you with was there was a tornado in the last place that I worked. And of course, you go in and you lock the doors and you keep the customers in until the danger's passed. You would not believe how many people want out during the time that it's literally hitting the building, because it was. And the things that they will say that they're going to sue you and so forth if you don't let them out, and you're just going by the policies and protocols put in place to save you, and
Right.
they're fighting to get out. Well, anyway, the day the tornado hit, it damaged the Brahms building in Greenville, Texas. And I could see that the roof had been ripped off from the store that I was at.
Mm-hmm.
So I went down there because my partner worked at the store. And there was ducting and insulation hanging out of the ceiling, and the roof was completely gone. There was no electricity. No one was injured, but literally there was a man in the drive-thru waiting on the chocolate malt during the whole time the tornado hit. Then afterwards, with all of that hanging out of the ceiling and everything, he still wanted the malt.
That's insane.
He,
That's nuts.
he still wanted his chocolate malt, with the building basically completely wiped out. Well, needless to say, he did not get that malt that day.
That's nuts.
So everybody that's listening to this,
Yes.
please share your most comical or crazy stories that you've been through while working in fast food or retail. It would be interesting to read some of
Yes.
those
We want to hear your
episodes.
stories. Leave them in comments below the video. Thank you so much